Right guys, welcome back to another video here on my YouTube channel. Now today's video, I thought let's do a Premier League season review. I do this every single year and let's get it out of the way because it was a season that ended in relegation and I don't like dwelling on negatives. I like to be looking at, forward, looking at the positives and look at what could be a very exciting summer for Luton despite this relegation. Now, I'm being, probably a little bit too positive, but I don't want to be negative. The Premier League season, it was tough for Luton. We weren't good enough in the end. We can all admit that now. We lacked that little bit of quality. Of course, there was other things involved, and I will talk about that in this video. But we weren't quite good enough to stay in the Premier League, despite the point deductions that happened to two other teams. But hopefully, when we do come back to the Premier League, which I do think will happen, especially in the next 10 years, I hope we do a much better job that time, the next time round. So let's talk about this Premier League season. Let me know in the comment section as well how you thought the Premier League season was. Give me a grade. I'm currently giving this Premier League season for Luton a C. Now the reason why I'm giving this season a C is because simply we gave it a go. We could have easily have been rolled over, which, okay, results may reflect that we were rolled over, but the performances were there for a lot of the season. The performances just didn't reflect the results for a lot of times this season. Now, of course, going down with the amount of points we deserved to. It wasn't the best of seasons, and I understand from an outside perspective, you are a fan, you look at it and go, well, I don't understand what this love for Luton's all about because they only got one win in 16. We've got a championship budget, a mid-table championship budget now, and we did better than two teams that have a bigger budget than Luton. Let's be honest. And we also gave other teams a go who were much above us in the Premier League. Unfortunately though, we didn't do it enough, and that's why we didn't, stay up on the points which we managed to get over the course of the season. But I thought a C because we didn't stop fighting. We gave it a real go. We did better than the two other promoted teams. And also, the fact that we only got one win in like 16 games, I feel like you can't rank us any higher than a C grade. It could have been a lot different. We could have been bottom. We could have, broken Derby's point record, which a lot of people thought we were going to do. But instead, we showed a lot of fight. We gave the boys as much support as we could. But ultimately, we just lacked that bit of quality. An injury crisis did impact us, and we just weren't good enough to stay up in the end. But we'll talk about that in this video. But first, let's talk about the summer recruitment. Was it a good summer recruitment? I'm looking at my phone because I've made a lot of notes. I need to remember what I'm going to say here. Summer recruitment, was it good? I felt it was good. It was the first time in Luton's history we've spent that amount of money. I thought one signing in particular was a poor one, but you don't get every signing correct. Ryan Giles, for me, he isn't a Luton Town player. He just isn't. Going forward, he looks like he's got a lot of quality, a lot of good, ability there. But defensively, he doesn't have it. Alfie is very similar. Alfie's very good going forward, but Alfie can do the defensive side of things a bit better than what Giles could do. And Giles just wasn't the same. I don't think he was up for it. I don't think he's that Luton type, style of player. I think he will do extremely well at a promoted team, especially at a team that's going for promotion, winning majority of their matches. That's why I thought he was really good at Middlesbrough, because they will always attack him. But at Luton, you may have to do more defensive work than attacking work. And I don't think that kind of suits his style of play. But that's fine. You don't get every signing correct. No team gets every signing right. Every team will get signings wrong. It happens because, no one just does it. No one just doesn't do it. It's extremely hard. But if you get over 90% of your transfers correct, you're more likely going to progress and succeed and go forward. Now, you may go, well, Lewis, Luton have gone backwards. They've been relegated. That isn't because of our summer recruitment. It's for other reasons why Luton have been relegated. But we'll talk about that in the video. But I thought the summer recruitment was good. Kaminsky in goal, best goalkeeper I've seen personally since Mark Tyler. Really good shot stopper. And yeah, he's, you know, I felt like he kept the scoreline down quite a lot throughout the season. And I felt he also deserved more clean sheets. I felt the defence in front of him didn't really help him in certain games. But, you know, it happens. But I thought he was really good. Barkley on a free signing. You know, I don't think many of us thought Ross Barkley would have had the season he's just had. But we got it out of him, and now he's probably going to earn his move to either Aston Villa or Manchester United, which has been rumoured around social media over the last couple of days. Tiedo Menji from Manchester United, probably the best business deal we've done. You know, he's someone who's going to be worth over £10 million. Very young, 21 years old, plenty of future ahead of him. Development's still there, he's going to get better. And if he progresses really well, potentially maybe a future regular England international defender. He has featured for the under-21s. Be interesting to see if we can actually keep him for next season, because he was extremely good. And yeah, I can't hope, fingers crossed, you know, the game against Fulham was the last game we saw of him in a Luton shirt, but he was really good. Lokonga on a loan deal. You know, he exceeded my expectations of him. Unfortunately, he did get injured twice in the season. Without those injuries, I feel like he was absolutely amazing. He you know, developed a really good relationship with Barkley. And if he could have stayed a little bit more fit, I think we would have done it even better with him in the team. And then Chong, I thought, you know, he didn't start the season off well, but I thought he came into it towards the end. I thought Townsend's experience did help at times during the game. And yeah, like, I thought the summer recruitment, I thought was good. You know, we were preparing, you know, that the signings we made can all do a really good job in the Championship. And that's always a good fallback to. Mans Anderson, for example, Brown, obviously Nakamba's done extremely well when he was last in the Championship. So we've got players at the club that can do a really good job if we were to get relegated from the Premier League. And obviously now we have been, I feel like those players will be probably one of the best in the division. Now, the first part of the season, it wasn't the best. We took some time to adjust to the Premier League, which happens. You know, I think every time a team gets promoted to another league, it takes time for them to adjust to that level. I felt we did give teams too much respect. We weren't aggressive enough, we weren't ruthless enough, we weren't front-footed enough, and we were still conceding goals despite having a defensive midfielder in the team. And going forward, we just didn't look like we were going to score. So we did a tactical change, and it was very important that we did it at the start of the season, well, roughly at the beginning part of the season. And that tactical change made us more front-footed. We knew how to score goals. I think we scored 10 more goals than Everton did, and Everton, without the point deductions, would have finished mid-table. So that's quite impressive in that regard. At one point, we scored more goals than Manchester United, which is, you know, amazing. And we actually scored against every single Premier League team this season. But yet, unfortunately, not good enough to go down, to stay up, I mean. But the goals, scoring goals were never the problem. It was conceding them. We were still conceding despite the tactical change, but we looked like we were more likely going to get points. And we gave teams a real run for their money. You know, Tottenham at home, Liverpool at home, Arsenal at home, Man City at home, Chelsea at home. You know, we really did give, you know, the best teams in the Premier League a good run for their money. But unfortunately, we weren't walking away with some points. And I felt like if we defended a little bit better, we could have, you know, got those points would have came back quite quickly, and we would have been able to compete with the likes of Nottingham Forest on a more level playing field without those point deductions, which we ended up competing them against with. But truthfully, we just weren't quite good enough at the back. We did switch off quite a lot. I've wrote down in my notes, switched off far too often. We lacked a bit of experience at the back as well. I thought when we lost Tom Lockyer, I thought that leadership and experience did go a little bit. And he is such a big character in the dressing room, got lots of experience as well, and we did miss him. And also, we've got to remember as well, we didn't have a consistent backline throughout the whole season. We honestly, defenders kept getting injured in and out, and I thought, you know, before the season started, we needed another centre half just in case injuries happened. Injuries did happen in the first part of the season, and we went into January hoping and praying that we bring in a few players. And I thought to myself at the start of the season, if we can go to January and we still be in touch and distance with the teams above us, we've done well. And we were. And I thought, brilliant. First part of the season, tick. We're still in for a chance of staying up in the Premier League. Now we've got to recruit a few more players because, you know, the evidence is there. Defensively, too many injuries. We need to bring a few more in just to toughen us up at the back, and we can then push on. Because we were playing extremely well at that time, if you remember. From December to February, we were performing well. But then that's when the injury crisis happened. Now, the reason why I wanted us to sign more defenders, and a lot of people may say to me, Lewis, you can't predict an injury crisis. Yeah, you can't predict an injury crisis. But the evidence was that at the start of the season, well, from the first part of the season, Dan Potts, Reece Burke, obviously what happened to Tom Lockyer, Osho, Mans Anderson, that was 5 centre-backs have got injured in the first part of the season. So for me, we needed to sign defenders. And we didn't. We only signed Hashi, who then just replaced Giles. We did sign the Reading defender Holmes, but we let him stay out on loan. And I thought January was just a poor window, and I've really felt we let ourselves down. We never normally do that in recruitment, but for the first time in a very long time, I thought Luton, we let ourselves down in that department. Now, I'm not saying the board didn't try. I'm pretty sure they did, but obviously we have a certain recruitment policy at Luton. It has to fit a certain criteria, but unfortunately, with us not bringing anyone in, I thought it impacted this, the team, and we did have an injury crisis. We were literally playing just Menji on his, as the only fit centre half, and he was fighting through injuries. Menji, I thought we brought him in just to be a development centre half, not a first team centre half, but a squad player, but someone who we can develop. Instead, we had to throw him straight into the team, and he just impressed. But every defender got injured for Luton. And I felt we let ourselves down just by not bringing at least one centre-half. We knew Tom Lockyer wouldn't play again, and I know the impact of Tom Lockyer would have had a massive impact on the team. But we needed someone to come in just for a short-term basis to make sure that we've got that covered. And we let ourselves down there. And I don't blame Rob Edwards for that. That goes down to the recruitment team. The recruitment team should have done a little bit better there. But because we had the injury crisis, it just impacted us. And you look at when we played against teams like Bournemouth, when we were, going 3-0 up, we were just shattered. We were shattered, bare-boned, bare 11, and teams were just able to break us down because we just couldn't. We couldn't make, really good substitutions because we had no one. We didn't. And do you blame Rob Edwards for not changing it, the tactical way, the formation? That's another, argument and debate. But because we didn't, unfortunately, we ended up winning one game in 16. And that's the reason why we got relegated. Conceded far too many goals. Switched off far too often. We lacked a little bit of leadership. I thought we weren't aggressive enough. We didn't actually get a single red card in the Premier League, which I thought was quite mental to say. I didn't think we broke teams down on a counter-attack, took a yellow card for the team, that sort of stuff. I'm not just saying the players didn't do a job. I felt they tried, and that's one of the major reasons why we all supporting them, because they have been trying. But they just ran out of energy, ran out of fuel, and it just caught us up in the end. And it's just simply because when the injured players got injured, it took far too long for them to come back. Injuries happen, of course. 2 injury crises in 3 seasons now for Luton. Hopefully we don't get another repeat. Hopefully they look to address that. I know you can't help injuries, but it has impacted us twice in 3 years. It impacted us during Nathan Jones' playoff push, and it's impacted us in the Premier League. So fingers crossed we look at that. I'd rather us be extra cautious and bring in more bodies in, and then just have to deal with players not happy about playing time rather than not have anyone, if that makes sense. But we gave it a real good go. I do think the honeymoon period is now over for Luton and Rob Edwards. Now we're going to be expecting a few things. We're going to be expecting to compete, especially with all this Premier League money. I do think we are going to, and I feel like Rob Edwards, he'd be under a little bit more pressure because, if we were to replicate some things which we did in the Premier League season, in the Championship, I don't think some people would be happy about that. But I don't think we'll get to that level. I do think we'd be okay. I know there's probably going to be a lot of rumours about our players leaving. How do we deal with that? Recruitment's got to be right in the summer. If recruitment's right, we'll be, you know, competing to go back up again. And I really do think we will get it right. But one or two things we've learned extremely from the Premier League season. I think Rob Edwards and his coaching team have, and also our wonderful owners. It's been, I say it's been a good season for Luton. We've competed, but ultimately not been quite good enough in the end, and that's fine. It's fine to admit that. It's fine to admit that we just weren't good enough in the end. It's okay. But got a bright summer ahead, and fingers crossed it's going to be a successful next season. I will be making more videos in the future, but I thought this season, you know, we gave it a real good go, and that's the one thing I'm proud about this team. We didn't, you know, fold. You know, we could have easily have folded, especially during the injury crisis period, but we didn't. We kept going right to the end. Without the point deductions, we would have got relegated like 3 weeks before the season. Okay, but from a team that's got a championship budget, and we did better than the two teams that got promoted with us, I think that's fair play for us. We didn't spend 100 million like Burnley, so we tried. We really did. But onwards and upwards from here. I'll be doing more videos coming soon, and yeah, let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you all in the next video.